This is Shockwave News. You can find me online at shockwavenews.net. And then, of course, Spreaker.com/Shockwave News. And right here on Anchor, that's Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm/Shockwave News. And always on Twitter, that's Twitter.com/Shockwave News 1. Like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast, folks. All right, let's get into the news here. Here's a disturbing article out of naturalnews.com. That's naturalnews.com. The headline, dated Friday, November 20th, today, by naturalnews.com. The headline reads, Federal lawsuit seeks to throw out $1.2 million flawed ballots in 3 Michigan counties guilty of voter fraud. So, again, I'm here in Central Florida, of course, and also had lived 36 plus years in the state of Michigan. So I do understand voter fraud, having lived 36 plus years in the state of Michigan, and then got tired of that, tired of the mess, tired of the ruling party up there that's ruled Michigan for a lot of years and ran Michigan right into the hole. I decided to come down here. So I've been down here in Florida for almost 18 years. So let's get right into this article here. The article starts out, 4 voters have filed a federal lawsuit in U.S. District Court in the Western District of Michigan. They claim to have sufficient evidence exists to place doubt on the November 3rd presidential election results in 3 Michigan counties, including Wayne, Ingham, and Washtenaw County. The election officials fraudulently changed the dates, allowed illegal voters to be cast, or illegal votes, to be cast. The counties did not provide transparent process either. There was also a software glitch, mounting clerical errors, and other issues and other irregularities. The lawsuits include plaintiffs Lena Bali of Oakland County, Stephen Butler of Jackson County, Grayville, Grossport of Oakland County, and Carol Hatch of Eaton County, Michigan, are all eligible and registered voters of the state. Lawsuits challenge the vote total in 3 Democratic strongholds. If the lawsuit's successful, the judge could toss out approximately 1.2 million votes. If this happens, the state would flip in Trump's favor, according to the initial contestant results. Biden won the state by approximately 146,000 votes. Widespread reports that fraud in these 3 Democratic strongholds ultimately cost Biden the state of Michigan. This will depend largely on the judges themselves, who are politically appointed by Democrats who control the state. But the level of fraud is too great to bypass, too cumbersome to ignore. Republican ballot challengers have been harassed, and legal ballot tampering has occurred in these Democratic strongholds. Democrats have not provided a transparent process and have threatened to seek to oversee and hold the process accountable. The lawsuit alleges that illegal ballots have included unofficial results. Related, Detroit whistleblower comes forth and then describes massive voter fraud for Biden with repeat ballot counting. Okay, so basically, folks, and again, having been a native Michigander for 36 plus years of my life, I know Michigan well. I hate to say this. I know it extremely well, having lived there for 36 years and voted there my whole entire life from the age of 18 on. It's usually the Democratic strongholds, just to give you an idea, city-wise, they're not mentioned in cities per se, but I can tell you, you have Democratic strongholds around the Detroit and Detroit metro area, and that area of Michigan alone, you're going to have lots of Democratic voters, just to give you an idea. The farther you go up, again, Michigan's shaped kind of like a glove, and the farther you go up in the state, the little more conservative they get. And it's the same type of way down here in Florida when you live in Central Florida, such as me, it's the same type of way, kind of like Michigan. Near the bottom half of Michigan, Detroit area, and above Detroit a little bit, you have the Democratic strongholds. You have a lot of the black vote. You have a lot of Democrats in that area. That's just kind of a mixture of how it runs. And then also you go up to the Saginaw area. You go up to, especially up to the Flint area. That's an impoverished area in the state of Michigan. You have a lot of Democratic, again, that's a Democratic stronghold, kind of that part of the states. It's kind of spotty, but I don't know. Hopefully you get my picture here. And then also, the farther yet up you go, the farther you go towards the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, then you start to get a little more conservative. And as I was just saying a second ago, it's kind of like that in the state of Florida. You have the lower half of Florida, South Florida, being mostly a lot of Democrats, although this year it was kind of mixed, but a lot of Democrats in the Miami area and different things. And then as you come to Central Florida, it's a good mix of Democrats and Republicans. And then the farther you go up towards North Florida, of course, once again, then you get more Republican-dominated, more conservative, more Republican-dominated. And so kind of Michigan is very similar to that. And again, there's spotty places in the state of Michigan where that stuff is going to happen, where you're going to have voter fraud. But Detroit doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me one bit. Ever since, again, being born and raised in the state of Michigan for 36 years, it does not surprise me. Michigan has had corruption, folks. I'm just going to say this. I'm sorry if this hurts my Michigan fan base here, but, Michigan's had corruption most of my natural adult life. It's just we haven't seen it. It's been behind the scenes. The people were more careful, a little this way, a little that way, and people turn their heads and they ignore. But Michigan's been basically, at least in the Metro Detroit area and some of the other areas I talked about, it's been predominantly, it's been a cesspool of nothing but crime, a cesspool of nothing but in this case, voter fraud and everything. So, none of this even surprises me. This doesn't even really rock my boat, because that's how Michigan, it's already well known. Anybody that's ever lived in Michigan, it's already well known. If you go to this area, I can tell you exactly how they vote. You go to that area, I can tell you. And when you go to Detroit, like at least 80% or more is going to vote Democrat. That's just the way it is. So, there are places like that all over the United States that are like that in certain areas. That's like kind of saying to New York, okay, New York City, right in downtown in New York City, well, geez, they're going to vote Republican. No, that doesn't happen. It's the same way with Detroit. 80 to 90% of them are always going to vote Democrat. So that's how that goes. So, all right, hopefully that gives you a little bit of understanding. Let's get back into the article here. I'm almost done. According to the lawsuit, a full certification of the vote for Joe Biden would first violate the First and 14th Amendments due to the voter delusion disenfranchisement. There were numerous of issues of fraud and misconduct. Additionally, an credentialed poll challenger was excluded from the absentee counting process, a violation of Michigan law. And then here they have the case, Trump versus Benson, case number 2000225-MZ. Absentee ballot counting conducted counts without inspectors being present for each party, and challengers were denied access to the video ballot boxes and also in violation of Michigan law. Ballots were also allowed to be dropped into unattended drop boxes, contrary to Michigan law. Hear that, folks? Ballots were dropped into unattended boxes. When you have this is serious as an election is, this is probably one of the greatest elections I'll see in my lifetime. United States freedom hangs at a balance, and somebody'd say, okay, Shockwave News, you're trying to fear point. No, I'm not trying to fear point anybody. I'm just saying freedom hangs at the balance. Okay, I know most of you don't understand the Constitution out there. Most of you just say, okay, I just want to vote. That's my freedom, my freedom. You jump up and down, you do it one time, and after that, you forget all about it. That's what the average everyday American, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, drink beer on the weekends, maybe occasionally take a vacation with your kids and wife, maybe once or twice a year, once every 5 years, and that's life. No, that's not. This election is the most important I'll see probably in my lifetime. And what you have to understand is there's massive voter fraud. And Michigan's only one state. I'm not going to beat Michigan up too bad. Like I said, that was my former home state anyway for 36 years. I was born and raised there. People have to understand that it's like that in multiple states. Wisconsin, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, up in Wisconsin, all over different spots of Wisconsin are going on. It's like that. It's down there in Arizona. They got some shit going on down there in Arizona. They tried that crap with this election down here in the state of Florida, rigging this son of a bitch. Guess what? That didn't work. That shit didn't happen down here in Florida. Because guess what? They caught the error instantly and took care of it. They instantly found out. It's like, nope, that's not allowed. That's not allowed. So actually, I'm very proud of the state of Florida for once. One time in the last 10 years here, Florida didn't fuck up. You know, that's a first. Normally they fucked up, and I've been watching these elections for almost 36 years of my life. So I've been watching this shit for a long time, folks. So going back to the article, let me finish here. Even worse, ballots were systematically processed and counted using voter names that failed to appear either the qualified voter file, that's the QFV. They have a file, so your name and address and all that, and your birth date and social security number, and the necessary voter information is in there, or supplemental sheets. When the voter name could not be found, the election worker assigned the ballot to a random name already in the QVF file to a person that had not voted. Election fraud was rampant, including election workers not verifying signatures or on absentee ballots so that they could backdate the absentee ballots in the process and process them regardless of their validity. Tens of thousands and thousands of absentee ballots arrived without envelopes. They were all counted for the Democratic candidate. You see where we're going here, folks? The election workers were instructed to process these ballots using false birthdays. Dependents in the case coordinated the fraud, instructing election workers. These are the supervisors instructing election workers to process late arriving ballots with falsely reported that they were received prior to November 3rd. And I mean, this just goes on and on and on. And again, Pennsylvania is a hot one. Georgia, let me talk about that for just a minute. Georgia is got the stuff going on there. They've got the fraud, and they want to try to steal that. Up near Atlanta, I believe that's Fulton County. I'm just going right off the top of my head. But up there in Atlanta, Fulton County, which is by Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta being the biggest city in the state of Georgia, of course. Democrats, and nothing but fake, and more fake. And they'll come up with thousands, just like they did in this election. They come up with thousands of votes for Joe Biden. And it's like somebody with dementia. Dementia Joe has nowhere to go. Dementia Joe doesn't even know his own name half the time. So you're going to tell me right now, as the count stood, I looked at just a number, Biden, the count, there was saying that they were close to well over 70 on their way to 80 million people voted for Biden. I mean, come on. You guys out there listening to this podcast, you can't be that. You got to use critical thinking. People can't be that fucking stupid, folks. You can't be that fucking stupid. If you are and you don't see any fraud whatsoever, then you're totally fucking blind. You're totally blind. You don't want to see it. You want to give this election, and notice I said give, or in other words, steal this election for Joe Biden because you want to, because you don't like Trump, because there's a personal this or personal that. Hey, most of the presidents, I didn't like Obama, but you know something? He was president, okay? I called him Mr. President. You see how that works? There's been a lot of people throughout the years. There's been shitloads of people, Bush the same way. I didn't care for the father too well. George W. Bush, the son that got in there for 2 terms, I didn't really care for him, but I tolerated him. And that's just the way it is. And there's been people on both things. Clinton, I couldn't stand. He was abomination to the White House. But again, I can go back to the Clinton days. But Bill Clinton, the economy ran well. So I go back and I'll say, I'll call it what it is. And I'll say, well, okay, I didn't care for Clinton the person, but running the country, the economy was very good. I can go all the way back to Reagan and even before Reagan. I can go back a lot of years because, again, I've been following this 36 years plus. Reagan back in the 80s. When I was growing up and even just getting out of high school, right out of high school, 18 plus, I remember Reagan was the president. The economy is booming back in the 80s too. And again, some people you can't stand, some people you can stand, but you have to look at it from this point of view maybe, or throw this into your, put this into your thinking cap and just say, you have to look at how the economy is. Are you better now than you were 4 years ago? And you have to put aside these issues of these race issues, the black versus white, LGBT issues. You can't be a one-issue person. In other words, if that's personal to you and that's how you want to decide to vote, well, then that's your prerogative. Whether you're pro or con abortion, I don't care. I'm an independent person. I'm an independent human being. That's how I am. That's how I'll always be. But I look at the issues and I look at this like a business person would use critical thinking 101 now. And I would say, okay, my family. How is my family doing for the last 4 years? Are they good, bad, or indifferent? Did the economy suck? It's sucking now with COVID, I can tell you. But how did we do overall? And based on my finances and based on my family, that's how I'm going to make a decision, a rationalized decision for president. And again, I'm not taking away from all those other issues, whether you're gay or not gay. I don't care either way. That doesn't concern me. It matters if you're going to just vote somebody. Oh, Trump offended me, so I'm not going to vote for him. Well, then that's okay. That's your right. But you have to look inside, and you also have to look at, again, most people don't, because most people aren't religious. A lot of people don't believe in God. I use my moral guiding compass also, and then I decide based on my beliefs, based on my morals, but again, based on what this person did over the last 4 years and how they affected my family and what the outcome was. So if all of that's good and that person did a good job and the family's good, life is good and stuff like that, then the pocketbook's good. Of course, the economy and jobs, because those are the 1 and 2 factoring things. The racism, the this, the that, all the other issues, they go down near the bottom of the stack when you come. You have to look at your pocketbook, number one. You have to look at the economy, number two. You can't be one of these people, and I know the millennials like to do that. They like to take just one issue, and they think that they're they take one issue and they'll just go off on it, and they'll base their whole entire life based on one issue, and you can't do that. You have to look at the big picture and then ask yourself a couple questions. And again, if you hate Trump, that's fine. If you love Trump, that's fine. I don't care either way. Like I said, I don't give a rat's ass what you do. But you have to, again, look at this as a mature human being. And you have to look at this going forward now. If Joe Biden wins and he won legally at this point in time, I don't know. That's going to be hard. Because Michigan, I tell you what, the voter fraud that's been going on for 20 or 30 years, they fucked up. The Democratic Party went overboard with that. The governor there needs to be she needs to be impeached immediately. That governor, I can't stand. But again, I'm not up there in Michigan, so that's up to the people of Michigan. That's up to the Michiganders. You have to, again, if you're in the state of Michigan, I love you guys. That will always be my home away from home. My family's still there as far as my sister and mom and cousins and everything like that. But again, they have to decide. I can't decide for people down here in Florida. It's none of my business. I can only do so much. And what they do up there, God bless them. That's their decision. So hopefully you've got something out of this podcast. Hopefully you've learned something out of this podcast, and might have helped some people out there understand what is important, what is not, and the voter fraud that's taking place right here. And there's massive amounts of voter fraud, especially in the state of Michigan. So hopefully you got something out of this. Like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast. You can find me online at anchor.fm, anchor.fm/shockwave news, and then, of course, Spreaker.com/shockwave news. Like, share, subscribe. Love you. Stay safe, and God bless.